World Bank warns global economy faces grim outlook. 2020 MSME survey to promote growth and development of the sector, says Sweden. Hong Kong Hang Seng jumps more than 2% as tech stocks rally. China's December inflation slows. Plus, oil prices hold firm on hopes economic growth to support demand. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Welcome to That Time We Talk Business. And we start by telling you that World Bank says worldwide financial system faces a grim outlook. The multilateral institution's president, David Malpass, warned, citing aftershocks of the pandemic has continued to weigh on development. He said this at the launch of the January 2022 Global Economic Prospects Report, JEP. The multilateral organization noted that COVID and the shutdowns are still taking a huge toll, especially on people in the poor countries. In the new JEP, the World Bank is lowering its global growth forecast to 4.1% for 2022. That's down 0.2% from the June JEP, and the growth was 5.6% in 2021. This new JEP report discusses the drag on development from policy uncertainty, government spending, and monetary policies in uncharted territory. With macroeconomic imbalances at unprecedented levels, government spending is set to be very high across the developed world. Meanwhile, the World Bank projected Nigeria's economy to grow by 2.5% in 2022, which is 0.1 percentage point above the estimated growth projection of 2.4% in 2021. In a new report titled Global Economic Prospects, the World Bank said elevated commodity prices are expected to support a near-term recovery across the sub-Saharan African region, with higher oil prices and the gradual easing of OPEC Plus production cuts benefiting Nigeria and Angola. Growth in SSA is projected to firm slightly during the forecast horizon to 3.6% in 2022 and 3.8% in 2023. Growth in the three largest SSA economies, Angola, Nigeria, and South Africa, was estimated at 3.1% in 2021, an upward revision from previous estimates. And now, the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, SMEDEN, in a report titled, in collaboration with National Bureau of Statistics, say the findings of 2022 Nano, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Survey conducted in 36 states and the FCT will empower policy makers to design accurate policy that will enhance growth and development of the MSMEs in the country. This was revealed at the media presentation of 2020 report on the survey on MSMEs.
Nigeria, it is estimated that 90 to 95% of all the enterprises are within the nano, macro, small, and medium categories. However, despite their numerical dominance, Nigerian NMSMEs contribute less than 10% to non-agricultural GDP. This situation has been attributed to their unstructured and highly individualistic tendencies, near total disconnect with large enterprises.
The survey was carried out in all the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. For nano, that is employing 1 to 2 persons, and micro enterprises employing 3 to 9 persons. Data was conversed through the National Integrated Survey of Household and the National Integrated Survey of Establishments, which are key modules being used for the conduct of survey in the National Bureau of Statistics. In order to achieve the desired results, 10 household enterprises were systematically selected by enumeration areas, making a total of 400 households visited in each state of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory.
President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered a wholesome audit of key aspects of the Nigerian economy as he seeks a better understanding of the economy following the appointment of a chief economic advisor. The detailed review will involve examination of trade policies, fiscal and monetary policies, as well as the institutions that are relevant to these policies. The audit will cover the past 6.5 years, and a report is expected to be handed in to the president before the end of March. Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has advised the federal government to widen its tax net in order to increase its revenue and ease the burden on the country's predominantly oil-based economy. The president LCCI, Michael Olawoleko, said this in Lagos at LCCDI quarterly press conference on the state of the Nigerian economy. He said it has been observed that beyond the technicalities around the assessment, rates and computation of taxes, government at all levels has the responsibility to ensure the creation of an enabling tax environment where the tax system is fair, equitable, and efficient to make tax payment easy. The chamber advocated for the widening of the tax net to capture more qualified taxpayers who are not paying their taxes, as well as more tax on luxury goods. A quick trip to the commodity markets now. The National Assembly has passed the Finance Bill 2021, transmitted to the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari on December 7, 2021. The Finance Act is intended to support the implementation of the 2022 federal government budget, as well as seek to introduce significant changes to a number of tax and regulatory laws in Nigeria in response to the continuing negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the economy and the current recession. And the Act proposes changes and updates to some of the provisions of the following pieces of legislation, which includes Capital Gains Tax Act, Companies Income Tax Act, Personal Income Tax Act, Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act, Value-Added Tax Act, Stamp Duties Act, Federal Inland Revenue Service Act, among other amendments. How would these reforms impact on revenue generation and implementation of the 2022 budget is the focus of the program. And joining me is a tax consultant, Dr. Kennedy Iwondu. Dr. Kennedy.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you join us here again.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yeah.
More taxes, more tariffs, more levies in 2022. Is that the way to go for us to survive, for our budgets to be better implemented?
It's not the only way to go. It's
one of the ways.
It's part of one of the ways to go, but not the only way to go.
Let's do that.
Why I say that it's not the only way to go is that the federal government is focusing more on how to increase revenue generation. They are not focusing on how to reduce unnecessary recurrent expenditure. That's the major challenge.
Wow.
In as much as we are focusing on how to increase tax revenue, other revenues to fund the budget, we should also look at how to cut down some of the expenditures and reduce wastages. However,
there's been this talk, not just talk, I believe there's been so much action in terms of trying to cut down costs. In what aspects do you think more needs to be done in addition to the revenue generation through widening the tax net?
Yeah, is to look at the non-tax revenue. How can you grow the non-tax revenue? One of the areas to grow non-tax revenue to the country is through privatization. Okay. Government has no business going into businesses. You should allow private companies to run the businesses.
Just to create enabling.
Yes, you can see today, we have the GSM companies, and at the end of the day, they are paying taxes, and they are doing better. When we had NITE, what were they doing? Nothing. So the same way you can do in petroleum industry, the same way you can do in power generation, the same way you can do in other sectors, and the country will be nice.
Dr. Iwundu, I see widening the tax net, bringing in more revenue, bringing in more money to face the number of needs that need to be met, particularly infrastructure. Businesses can thrive when you have the proper infrastructure to it, be it technology, be it roads, be it in whatever aspect. What do you think should be done to widen this tax net? Just a certain percentage, just a certain percentage of the tax of Nigerians pay tax.
Yeah, the issue is this. Government is already widening the tax net using the Finance Act. I'll give you one aspect. One of the aspects is the Education Tax Act, that's the Third Fund Act, has been amended, where the education tax rate is no longer 2% of the adjusted profit, but is now 2.5%.
Okay.
So definitely more revenue will come for Third Fund to execute so many of the projects they have in tertiary institutions. Third Fund has been doing very well, so I support that. We also have other areas like introduction of capital gain tax, 10% on bonds. Okay. You sell up to 100 million above. We also have other areas where there are so many amendments that if I start mentioning it, we will not have enough time to talk about.
Let's go on them. Yeah. One exciting one is the amendment that has to do with getting to get tax from online services.
Yes, there's we call it digital taxation.
Digital taxation.
Right now,
tell us about that.
Yeah,
and how effective that will be.
It will be. What the Federal Revenue Service need to do is to liaise with the Nigerian Communication Commission to ensure that there's effective implementation. One of the areas digital taxation will get us money is one, Facebook, Google, Twitter, all those giants, whatever income they are collecting in Nigeria, they also collect VAT. And
which they are making a whole lot of money.
Like now, if Facebook have announced that their ad VAT across what they will apply VAT on them, they collect VAT from you that want them to advertise. And so with that, we're going to generate a lot of money. Then the second one is deemed profit assessment. What is deemed profit assessment? Deemed profit assessment is where the law prescribes that where an accessible income cannot be ascertained, the Federal Revenue Service has the right to apply a deemed profit assessment. That deemed profit assessment is taxing 6% of the turnover. So at the end of the day, Facebook will pay tax in Nigeria. We'll check all the money Facebook has made in Nigeria and apply 6% on the turnover.
Only 6%?
Yeah, because in deemed profit assessment,
I thought it was going to be the 7.5.
No. The 7.5 is on VAT. They first of all collect the VAT and give a FIRS.
Okay.
Then whatever is the income, they also pay 6% on the turnover. So there are two taxes they're paying now.
No,
so deemed profit assessment means where your effective profit cannot be ascertained, the revenue authority will say, I'll give you 80% cost, and your profit becomes 20% on that turnover. And you apply 30% on that 20%, which is equivalent to 6% of the turnover.
There has been this issue of some certain groups of people, certain groups of business interests usually gets waivers from taxes, which a lot of people say, which some people say it shouldn't be. Then there is the issue of incentives. With these reforms, who benefits from these incentives?
There should be incentives. Incentives are anchored on two ways. Incentives to encourage export promotion, and incentive to also encourage import substitution.
Okay.
Whatever incentives are given to anybody today, any company today, that will encourage exporting goods out of the country, that will promote foreign
direct foreign exchange.
investment. Yes, definitely is allowed, and it should be encouraged. Whatever incentive you are giving anybody that will set up industries and companies in Nigeria that will produce things ordinarily you would have imported, it should also be encouraged. The question we are going to ask is that Nigeria Investment Promotion Council that have been granting pioneer status to so many companies, have they complied to the rules to ensure that these companies they are granting tax holidays are really adding value in the area of export promotion and import substitution? So I'm using this opportunity to call on federal government to review the activities of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council, especially in granting tax holidays to companies. Are those companies that are granting tax holidays, do they merit it? Are they being granted on political consideration? Or
what are the benefits?
What are the benefits of this? So we should have a review of our incentives to, especially companies that are invested into the country.
There's a new tax coming on board, which is the 10 naira on every liter of carbonated
excise,
the excise duty. And the Nigerian Labour Congress is saying, no, it's going to impact on this. It's going to impact on the revenue you're going to get rather than getting more money from this tax. What's your take on all of this?
Yeah, my take is the tax on carbonated drinks. Some other countries call it sugar tax. So many countries,
it's basically sugar.
Yes, many countries believe that sugar has a lot of health implications on people. So much sugar leads to diabetes and so many other health complications. So some countries we put tax on those sugar drinks to discourage people from consuming them. So there are two reasons why government imposed taxes. One is for fiscal measures, and the other one is for health reasons. Fiscal measure is that people like drinking sugar things. Let's put tax, we're going to generate money from it. The other one is, if we put tax, it may discourage them from the consumption. But the question is, if you are putting tax on product that has inelastic demand, it will not discourage them. It will continue to demand. Rather, it favors the fiscal measures where you have to generate more money. So it is always striking a balance. This measure of imposing 10 naira on each liter, is it going to increase our revenue generation, or is it going to discourage people to avoid them having, because at the end of the government will like, if we reduce people from taking so much sugar, our hospitals will have less activities.
Well, which is a win-win. It's positive both ways, if you ask me. Well, the finance minister also hinted that there will be a mid-term review of the Finance Act to bring in more amendments. Do you think these reforms are actually the way to go, and will they impact on the recovery process of the economy?
Yeah, before they have a mid-term review, they should call the stakeholders and ask them for the opinion. So many times, some of us that are practicing in the field, they don't call for opinion. Some of us that are in the field has an opinion over some of these things. So if you are carrying out the review, you look for the taxpayers, you look for the tax consultants, you look for the tax administrators, you look for the regulators in the field, and let them have an opinion over some of the act we are doing. The issue is that we've come to embrace the Finance Act. It has become a yearly thing. And
now, gradually, it's going to be a timely thing, like twice a year, perhaps.
No, it's annual. It's not. It's twice.
Yeah, with the midterm review, but
if you do a review, it won't be a law.
Okay, just the amendment.
Yes, if you do a review, it won't be a law. The review is to look at some of the limitations of some of those things, so that the next year you are trying to do a new law, you bring them into perspective.
Okay, talking about limitations and reviews, government targets to raise revenue to GDP ratio from the current 8 to 9% to 15% by 2025. Does this mean widening the net?
Yeah, it helped. If you widen the tax net, it will definitely take the tax to GDP ratio up.
Yeah, okay.
But
automatically.
Yes, but I want to say here that you don't just widen the tax net by enforcing taxpayers to pay tax. You also need to widen the tax net by ensuring that government provide the needed services to the people.
Let's see what the taxes are.
Exactly. So we also call for government to have that tax transparency where the tax revenue they are collecting is properly accountable. And once the people see that these tax revenue are properly accounted I'll tell you there'll be more compliance. There'll be more compliance.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Kennedy Ewundu, for sharing your thoughts with us on Business Express.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Moving on, hairdressing is a process of cutting, grooming, and styling hair in order to preserve a healthy living, an occupation achievable through a combination of professionalism and texturing techniques. Correspondent Benny Achibong takes a look at hairdressing business.
Hairdressing, custom of cutting, styling, and grooming the hair practiced by men and women from ancient times to the present. Early records indicate that elaborate curly hairdo and wigs, ornate or simple hairdressing has been employed by nearly every society. Hairdressing came to be associated with a variety of technological techniques ranging from combs, hairpins, replaced by electrical innovations, and grooming the hair and chemical processes to tint, wave, coil, straighten, and condition the hair. Experts say by 20th century, hairdressing and manufacturing of materials and equipment has become an occupation and practical art of large proportion.
Yes, I do it for my livelihood. It's up to more than 15 years now.
Later, as you see like this, I make it, call it 30 something years now. I benefit with this. Train my children to school. I build house with this.
The business is okay and it's nice. There's money in it. Who don't know, don't know.
Yes, home service, I do go. Even in the shop here, I do work. So I just thank God for it because I love my work. He blessed me with the work and I have customers.
Hairdressing clients speak on convenience and cost effectiveness.
This handwork is good, and even though you go out and you don't have money, when you come to your shop, you will surely have money.
What I put on here is a crochet, and I like it so much because it's more convenient to me. It does not disturb me, so that is why I like it.
Just a day after the Nigerian equities market recorded its first slip for the year, stocks made a rebound midweek to see the all-share index solidly locked in more than 700 points to close the day at 44,608.82 basis points. 266 million shares valued at 3.822 billion naira were traded in 4,502 deals. Equity capitalization also rose to 24.034 trillion naira. On the activity chart, Transcorp topped in terms of volume with 89 million shares and was followed by FBN Holdings and Jais Bank. Well, Nekauko is standing by for the global update.
Hello and welcome to the Global Market Review. An Omicron outbreak in China is sending jitters through supply chains as manufacturers and shippers brace for disruption inside the world's biggest trading nation if it can't contain the fast-spreading variant. Now, in the equity market, Asian stocks jumped on Wednesday, with Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index leading gains in the region as it jumped 2.79% to close at 24,402.17. The Shanghai Composite was also up by 0.84%, while in Japan, the Nikkei 225 climbed 1.92% to close at 28,765.66. European stocks also ticked higher on Wednesday as investors await the latest reading of U.S. inflation data. The DAX in Germany was 0.54% higher at 16,028.02. London's FTSE also rose 0.78%, and France's CAC 40 appreciated by 0.62%. In the U.S., stock futures rose slightly in early trading after gains on Wall Street. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average inched up 22 points. S&P 500 appreciated by 0.01%, while Nasdaq Composite was down 0.04%. Though markets on the African continent were mostly in negative territory in early deals, South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 recorded impressive gains of 1.75% at 68,477.69, while Namibia's overall index also witnessed slight increase at 0.15%. And that's Global Market Review. I am Neka Oko.
On that global note, Business Express returns Thursday by 9:30 a.m. I am Benny Adams saying compliments of the season.